Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the May 5th, 2020 Glendale Housing Authority meeting. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Cinco de Mayo today. Let's not forget that, and I hope you'll be celebrating in the safety of your own home. Please be reminded that due to the evolving situation with the COVID-19 and health recommendations from the LA County Health Department, the Glendale City Council meeting will be available to the public electronically. Due to social distancing requirements, the public will not be able to attend the meeting. However, the public is encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of your homes to practice social distancing. This meeting can be viewed on local cable, Charter Cable's Channel 6, and AT&T UVerse Channel 99. You may also stream online through our website, www.glendaleca.gov, by scrolling all the way to the bottom of the web page and selecting live streaming, which is the third icon on the left. For public comments and questions during this meeting, please call 818-937-8100, and I see the number up at the top of the screen. Please don't call in advance of the agenda item that you would like to address. City staff will be submitting these questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person during this meeting. So with this being said, may I have roll call, please?
Authority Member Agajanian.
Present.
Brotman.
Here.
Kasakian.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Parazian.
Here.
Chair Devine.
Here. What's next, please?
The agenda for the May 5th, 2020 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Tuesday, April 28th, 2020 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And next?
Next would be oral communications.
Okay, we have no approval of minutes this week?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. Do we have any telephone calls submitted?
We do not.
Okay. Then what's next?
Authority member and staff comments.
Okay, are there any from my colleagues? Okay, I'd like to ask the city attorney, if I may, to look into broadening the eligibility to serve on this housing authority. I know that we're kind of bound by the law that says that only Section 8 renters can apply, but I believe that, Mr. Garcia, you looked into this at one point, and there may be a way that we can expand our search.
Madam Chair, we can look into that and bring you back a report soon. And I'll coordinate with the city manager's office on the timing of that.
Great, great. Do we need a second on that or not?
I second it because for 2 years I was trying to find somebody to join us.
I know we've had a problem with this issue, trying to find a person, a renter that really has the time. It is time consuming. Every Tuesday there's an obligation to be here, so I understand that, and perhaps we can, with a little bit more flexibility, we can find someone to take that position. What's next, please?
Next would be adjournment.
Do I have a motion?
Before we adjourn,
Yes?
we are checking. There may have been some calls coming in. If you can wait 1 second before
Okay,
you adjourn.
one call is here now. Hold on.
Of course.
Yes, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, you're on the air. Speaking to the Housing Authority.
Sounds like Paul.
Hello?
They don't talk.
Yeah, somebody saying hello.
You're on the air? Maybe I said it, say it loud. No, I guess nobody's in there.
There's someone.
Okay, it may be for the next meeting. So did I have a motion for adjournment? We are checking. There may have been some calls coming in. If you can wait 1 second. Okay.
Now I have second line.
Just one second.
There is more
Do we have calls?
called. Can I take it or?
Yes, 1 second.
Please.
They say, oh, they are trying to do something. 1 second.
Chair Devine, members of the Housing Authority, there are 2 calls that are on hold. Let's see if we can
Listen to them?
listen to them
Okay.
at this point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You're on the air? You're on the air?
Hello, hi. I'm calling regarding because the city of LA is extending rent freeze for 360 days after the end of the local emergency period, and also those who are not able to pay, they have 12 months. And I believe that the city of LA should also extend the rent freeze for 360 days because this economic impact is not just for 1 month or 2 months. It's now all the prices, everything has gone up, and it has affected everyone. And it's going to has a toppling effect for the next whole year. So the city of Glendale should do the same because it's put a strain on everyone, in all the residents, and already the landlords the past 3 years or more, they have to increase the rent so much that, and plus this economic condition, it's just too much for the tenants. And landlords should not be profiting from others suffering. So I believe that the city of Glendale should also take the footsteps of the city of LA and also put a rent freeze for the next 360 days after the end of this emergency ordinance. And in the city of Glendale should also follow their footsteps, and this is an issue of humanity, and a lot of people are suffering, and especially those who are unable to pay their rent. So it should be unconscientious for landlords to increase the rent at this time and the next few months because it's really a great hardship for everyone right now. And if you go to shopping, to the groceries, everything, all the prices have gone up, and it's really too much for us, and we shouldn't have to be concerned about rent increases the next few months or the next year. So I urge all the city council members and the housing authority to also follow the the guidance of City of LA and other cities and put a hold on the rent increase for the next year at least. And so thank you so I hope, I don't know if you have any questions or anything.
Thank you very much for that call, and this is an issue that council will be dealing with. We will be addressing very similar situations, so stay tuned. If you can watch council meetings in the evening, that would be very, I think, helpful to you. City Manager Beers, do you have anything to add to her comments, her questions?
Chair Devine and members of the Housing Authority, not at this time. Mr. Garcia was pulling up the orders to see when our orders, how long they would be in effect. I'm not sure if he's able to pull it up.
I haven't yet, but in my recollection, it was they're set to expire May 15th. We will be having a discussion next week, the council meeting on the 12th, to discuss all the orders, including the emergency order, the original declaration declaring the emergency. So all those items will be up for discussion by the council next Tuesday.
May 12th.
By the end, okay. All righty. Thank you so much. Thank you for the information. Is there another call?
More calls, yes. Yes, you are on the air.
When our orders, how long they would be in effect? I'm not sure if he's able to pull it up.
We are listening.
Hello?
That's
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was told the next session's not in yet.
You're on the air.
I'm watching. Am I on?
I know, but I'm sorry, I have to talk for Madam Chairman. You lower the volume on your unit.
All right, I'm sorry, I was calling about the art stock.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is for a special.
meeting.
put on hold, yes.
We'll place you on
Yes, I
hold.
was told I was going to be put
Okay.
on hold until that came.
All right,
Sorry.
this
This is the first time I'm doing this, I don't know.
was for a special meeting. Madam Chair, you continue. That was not.
All right. we're at the adjournment stage. Did I have a motion for adjournment?
I
I
move.
move.
Second.
We have moved, and we
Want
have
roll
the
call?
second. Yes, roll call.
Okay,
Madam Chair
we're-
says roll call.
Then we are adjourned at 3:21.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your help.
This is May 5th joint meeting of Glendale City Council and Glendale Housing Authority. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the May 5th, 2020 joint meeting of the Glendale City Council and Glendale Housing Authority. Due to evolving situation with COVID-19 and health recommendations from LA County Health Department, the Glendale City Council meeting will be available to the public electronically. Due to social distancing requirements, the public will not be able to attend the meeting and is encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of their homes. This meeting can be viewed on Charter Cable Channel 6 and the Spectrum Cable Channel 6 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99. You may also stream online through our website, www.glendale.california.gov, by scrolling all the way to the bottom of the web page and selecting live streaming, which is the third icon from the left. For public comments and questions during the meeting, call 818-937-8100. You'll see it on the screen on the right top portion of the screen. Please don't call in advance of the agenda item. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call for the City Council is Councilmember Brotman,
Here.
Devine,
Here,
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Mayor Agajanian.
Present.
roll call for housing, please.
Authority Member Agajanian,
Yeah, here.
Brotman,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian,
Here.
Chair Devine.
Here.
Thank you. Next item, please.
The agenda for the Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 joint public meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority was posted on Tuesday, April 28th, 2020 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. May I have a motion for item 1A? Or
We have to read it.
anybody to it?
So read it into the
Okay.
record.
Item 1, Community Service and Parks regarding fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG, ESG, and Home Annual Action Plan, substantial amendment related to CARES Act funding for CDBG-CV and ESG-CV. 1, council motion to provide direction on the proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG, ESG, and Home Annual Action Plan, substantial amendment related to CARES Act eligible activities of fiscal year 2019-2020 proposed CDBG-CV and ESG-CV funding allocation plan, pursuant to which staff will prepare CEQA for council approval of program plan. 2, Housing Authority motion to provide direction on the proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG, ESG, and Home Annual Action Plan, substantial amendment related to CARES Act eligible activities, a fiscal year 2019-2020 proposed CDBG-CV and ESG-CV funding allocation plan, pursuant to which staff will prepare CEQA for council approval of program plan.
So, Madam City Chair, Manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We will go directly to Onik Bolanikian, who is our Community Service and Parks Director.
Thank you, Ms. Spears. Mayor Agajanian, members of the council, Housing Authority Chair, Devine, and Housing Authority members, thank you and good afternoon. On March 27th of this year, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, known as the CARES Act, was signed by President Trump. The purpose of the CARES Act and program planning is to develop funding recommendations for eligible activities related to COVID-19 for the year 2020 CARES Act funding for CDBG and both CDBG and ESG, and to develop, discuss, and recommend a proposed funding allocation plan. So, like I mentioned earlier, on March 27th, the bill was signed into a law. There is $5 billion nationwide allocated for CDBG, $2 billion for the first entitlement. The first rollout was issued to entitlement communities, such as one being Glendale, in the amount of $1,175,000. $4 billion for ESG funds. The first $1 billion to entitlement communities. Glendale received $569,417. There will be a second rollout for both CDBG and ESG. The date has not been set yet. When we receive confirmation, we'll come back to council to program those funds. The CARES Act eligible activities include funds to prevent, prepare, and respond to the COVID-19. And eligible activities include support coronavirus and other infectious disease responses. In your packet, we have two guides, one for CDBG and ESG eligible activities that was provided by HUD. So in terms of CDBG, we do have a number of eligible activities. The first one being building improvements. We can use funds to construct a facility or a temporary facility for testing, diagnosis, and treatment of COVID-19. Second activity would be business assistance, provide small grants or loans for businesses in Glendale. Third activity would be job training for healthcare workers, purchasing equipment, supplies, materials for public service, meal delivery service, and planning, capacity building, and technical assistance. For ESG, eligible activities would include street outreach. We have our outreach workers with CSP and Essentia that are engaged with our unsheltered clients, providing our unsheltered clients hand sanitizers, soap, tissue packets, hygiene kits, working with our shelter staff over at Essentia, providing them with masks, disposable gloves, hand sanitizers, and other personal protective equipment, and providing our unsheltered clients transportation, bus tokens to and from their medical appointments and medical care facilities. Additional activities for ESG would include emergency shelter and homeless prevention, furnishing of cots, motel programs and vouchers, cleaning supplies, protective equipment for both homeless individuals and staff that work shelters, and basically participant needs such as linens and hygiene kits. And also expense staffing to hire additional staff to support infectious disease and preparedness. So there are three options for a method of allocation. First option, directly allocate these funds to city-administered programs. Award the funds to community organizations through a request for proposal process for programs administered by nonprofits. Third option would be either option, a combination of option 1 and option number 2. CDBG, like I mentioned earlier, has been allocated $1,175,000. We're proposing a rental assistance program, allocating $572,500. Small business grant program, allocating $572,500, and expanding the city's senior nutritional meals program, asking for $30,000, a little over $30,000. The rental assistance program will assist low-income households affected by COVID-19 with rent payments up to 3 consecutive months. These rent payments will go directly to the landlords. Households may not be part of any other housing assistance program. Like I mentioned earlier, funds would be directly going to landlords. Some area of directions needed. The grant amount that staff is suggesting is $1,000 per month for a maximum of 3 months. It can be available to renters only, low-income homeowners, or both, senior families, or both, and residents only. Funds would be available to residents only those affected by COVID-19. The small business grants would be available for small businesses to for layoff aversion, job development. Small business can use the funds to pay rent, payroll, and utilities. We'll be allocating $572,000 for this program. If there is any questions, I'll be more.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
I have Phil Lanzafame, Director of Community Development, here to assist, to answer any questions regarding the rental assistance or small businesses. Yes.
No, I have the question that it says on page 6, of course, then later on page 9, 572,500, which for a small business grant program. How they have to come forward and what the purpose will be? They come forward and asking for what?
Both the programs will be on either on a first come first served basis or a lottery. They would. Phil, do you want to?
And also, is there a specific time that they have to come forward, like in a month time or in 6 months, or when they have to come forward? And how long
Mayor,
they have?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council and Housing Authority, that is some direction. First, we'd like to know, would you like to do this program? If you do, we will put many of those things together. Staff envisioned getting this money out quickly, so we would like to promote and then ask for a quick turnaround. And again, it depends on whether the council would like to do a first come, first serve or a computerized lottery. Staff would suggest a computerized lottery as a way to, again, more quickly get the program in place.
No, but what's the eligibility? I mean, how big is the businesses, or any limitation, or how many employees? There should be some limitation. I mean, you can't say it will be like what has been done. A company came forward, took $70 million from this recent help that the bank's SBA was offering. The other company came forward with, they received $20 million, the other one $10 million. And those who were asking for $25,000, they didn't get the chance. I'm trying to understand who is eligible, what they have to do.
Yeah, you jumped a little bit ahead of us, but let me see if I can do this with the slide to my back.
Okay.
We're for the business grant, we're suggesting that non-essential businesses be those that are eligible, one of the eligibility requirements. They've not been able to operate at all during the COVID emergency. We would make an exception for restaurants because they've been pared way back, and we would put them in that non-essential business. But for the most part, it's those that have not been able to operate. Businesses would have employees of 1 to 50 employees. 25 employees. I'm sorry, 1 to 25 employees. 51% of those employees must be of an affordable income, low or below. We would also like to see at least a 25% drop in revenue. Again, all of those things are something that we would need to verify, and we could either self-certify and then check after a lottery, or check everybody before we do a lottery, or do first come, first serve, check them as we go along. Those are some of the parameters that we're thinking for this program. Again, it depends on how quickly the council would like to get this out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The third program for CDBG would be the the city's elderly nutritional meals program in the amount of $30,000. We would expand our meals program. We Regularly, before COVID, we would serve 3,600 meals a month. Due to COVID, we're serving 6,000 meals per month. The additional 30,000 will expand our capacity to 70 seniors. And also, we will use those funds for our cooling fan assistance program. We did purchase 500 cooling fans that we're providing at no cost during the summer months, since our cooling stations are currently closed. Any senior that is in need of a cooling fan, we would deliver them. Our case managers would deliver them, do a wellness check on the client, and provide them with a fan. The proposed funding allocations for ESG, or Emergency Solutions Grant, program administration, $56,000. This will be split 50-50 with city and the nonprofit entity that will be developing their homeless prevention program. $360,000. We would like to go to the Glendale Hotel program. We currently have 20 unsheltered clients in hotels around the city. One hotel actually in Glendale and 2 outside of Glendale. The funds that would pay for the hotel stay, case management, would be paid out of the Glendale Hotel program. And we have also partnered with LASA, and we have 15 rooms at the Vagabond Inn for Governor Newsom's Project Room Key to house unsheltered homeless clients for an additional 90 days. So the 360 would be used to house the 35 to 40 clients that we currently have housed in our motels in Glendale. That 360 not only will be used for the hotel room, it'll be used for meals, case management, and security at the Vagabond Inn. $66,000 would be used for portable showers and hand washing stations. We have a number of hand washing stations and porta potties that have been deployed citywide. These funds would extend those units all the way through the end of September. The portable shower program is a nonprofit organization. They come in, they're self-contained. We'll set up shop usually at the Adult Recreation Center. They charge $1,500 each time, and we're hoping to have portable showers for the next 6 months using these funds. And then $86,000 would go to the nonprofits that have homeless prevention programs, such as Catholic Charities, YWCA, and Family Promise, or the Verdugos. So as I mentioned earlier, the $360,000 would be for the Glendale Care Project. We currently have 20 clients paid out of the State Homeless Emergency Fund that was approved by Council on April 14th. And we have Project Room Key, 15 clients that we've placed as of last week, April 28th. 15 units were made available for the city of Glendale. And we work with LASA and First to Serve. They're the service provider that is managing that project. Portable showers, like I mentioned, $1,500 per week for the next 5 months. And hand washing stations, which we have currently deployed, $6,000 per month for the next 6 months, also through the end of September. Homeless prevention will be used for rental assistance, financial assistance, rental application fees, security and utility deposits, and also services working with case managers for housing search and placement, and landlord-tenant mediations with all of our homeless clients. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. So moving forward, staff is asking for directions on funding allocation on our proposed plan.
Okay. Councilmember Najarian.
Yes, couple questions. Let's start with the small business grant program. Those are grants. They are not loans to be repaid, correct?
Yes, there will be grant.
And it says up to 5,000 maximum, and they can't be recipients of the PPP or the EIDL or any of that other assistance?
Yes,
Okay, so these are the folks that fell through the cracks,
yes.
potentially. How is the rental assistance program different from the homeless prevention program? Because you're giving money to tenants, we're paying it to the landlord on behalf of the tenant.
The homeless prevention program are for our homeless clients, our sheltered homeless clients that are part of our Shelter Plus Care program, or that are currently in any of our permanent supportive housing. If they have lost their income due to COVID, we will assist them with those funds.
Okay. The last thing, and I did discuss this with staff, so I'm not blindsiding anyone. I am concerned of the location of the Glendale Care Hotel project at the Vagabond Inn, which is right there in the heart of our downtown. And we have been challenged with homeless before this COVID came, with our outreach teams and all that, trying to seek help for them. I'm concerned that either during their stay there or after the project ends, that they're going to move in to the Galleria or into the Americana or on Mid-Brand and really create a problem that we had not expected. I know that I know Ms. Somelian told us that there's security, that there's nursing, that there's case management, but I just have to raise my concern that I hope, it could go well, but I think there's also a chance that at the end of this program, we just have inundated downtown with homeless people who were just previously for several months staying in our downtown. They really liked downtown Glendale, and they decided to make downtown Glendale their home. So it's just a concern I have. I just want to raise some of the trepidations that I have on that. I'm not going to vote against it. The humanitarian effort is well worth it, but I'm just concerned about any long-term unanticipated consequences. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brock?
Yeah, so I have a number of things. Maybe we'll start with the CDBG money. So we have the rental assistance, $572,000, and you have a whole bunch of things that I think you're looking for guidance on, A, B, C, D, all the way to G.
Yes.
I just wanted to make some comments on each of those. So on the suggested amount, personally, I would try to spread it a little bit further. I would maybe go to $800 and maybe go from 3 months to 2 months so that we can cover more individuals or families. On B, I would go for low income. My friend Karen Kwok said to me that if you take a Venn diagram of low income and COVID impacted, basically the circles overlap. So rather than go through the process of figuring out whether they're COVID impacted, I think it's just easier to say low income. C, I would say renters only. D, seniors, families, I would say both. E, I think is okay. I do want to make sure, that because people are starting to receive unemployment insurance and the PUA, the pandemic, what's it called? Unemployment assistance. That money is starting to flow, and I think PUA is still lagging, but, some people are, getting good cash flow from that, $600 extra, and we know of some cases where people are getting more from the insurance than they were getting when they were working as part-time workers. So I want to make sure we're not, we're deducting, we're not going after those people, or at least we're deducting the amount. So if somebody is getting that amount, we're and we pick them in the lottery, we're giving them, less. I would say, as far as lottery, I agree with you. I agree with staff. I think lottery is the way to go. Otherwise, sometimes the people that are most needy are the slowest to figure out how to apply, and it's all gone by the time they do. So I'm with you on lottery. And documentation, I would say self-certification and confirmation after the lottery, just it saves a lot of work, right? And you're not getting people's hopes up that they've put in all this documentation and they don't get selected. Those would be my, just to give guidance on that. I would also say, as far as payments to the landlord go, I think we might want to consider, getting landlords to agree that they're going to hold rent steady for some period of time if these payments are being made to them. I mean, they're benefiting from getting paid, and so we might want to have a quid pro quo. I know that's a loaded term, but we might want to have something to say, well, you hold no rent increase for 12 months or something like that for being part of this program. I'm not sure. I just would hope you could consider that. The other thing I would say is when we are doing this, let's think about the people that are most exposed that are not getting any of the federal benefits, like the undocumented. Is there some way that, I just want to make sure they don't fall through the cracks? No, we cannot?
No. For Councilmember Brotman, HUD funds, the city cannot directly give funds to undocumented workers or undocumented citizens. What can happen is we can RFP those funds to a nonprofit, and the nonprofit can assist the undocumented.
Okay. Well, I'd like to,
The city directly cannot give those
if
funds.
staff
to-
could consider that, because there's a population that's extremely needy, and they're not in line for any benefits at all. So on the small business grant, there was somebody that wrote in some comments, and I thought she had a very interesting perspective, and I tend to agree with it. She was saying, rather than just hand out money to businesses, why don't we help them with things that are going to make it possible to reopen. So when we start reopening, right, people are going to need things like special disinfectant systems. And she mentioned electrostatic sprayers and UV disinfectant products that we could loan to small businesses. They use them twice a day, and it keeps the store environment clean. Glass barriers for where the checkout people are, modifying doorknobs, hand sanitizing stations. So rather than just hand them money, maybe think about how we can use the money to help them get back on their feet, because ultimately we want customers coming in and spending money, not just handing money out to people as a one-time thing. So I thought that was a very creative suggestion from this one resident named Frida. I think she wrote to all of us. So let's think about that. And then on the ESG side, let's see. One question I had was with the showers. And this was, again, these are not my ideas. These are people that have written in and called. So, but somebody did make a good point that, when you take a shower, you don't want to get back into your old dirty clothes. So is there some way, what do we do with clothing donations, or with, can we help people wash their clothes? Because otherwise, it's kind of pointless. So maybe we can think about something along those lines. Yeah, that's, I might think of some other things, but right now that's what I have. Thank you.
I have phone calls. Maybe I go to the phone calls and then we go to the comment of my colleagues. You're on the air with city council members. Hello?
Yes, hello?
Yes, we are listening.
I'm listening to the meeting, yes.
Because otherwise,
Yes, we are listening to you
Can I call
now.
back later?
We are listening.
Mr. Mayor, I believe this is Deborah Lear. She is holding for the special meeting for the Art and Entertainment District.
That's the
which
art
is
stocks.
next item, I believe.
Oh.
You're not
Okay.
on Artstock yet, right?
No.
No.
So take line 2,
Sorry,
please.
should I call back during that?
Yes, call back, please.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're on the air with city council.
Thank you very much, Mayor Najarian. My name is Rick Lemo, and I am the president of the Greater Downtown Glendale Association. I really appreciate the care and the work that you do for those folks who are needy. I think we have to also keep reminding ourselves that it's important for you to take a long, hard look at the damage that has been done by the extension of your March ordinance on April 14th. And by the way, I want to make sure that I correct myself and say Mayor Agazanian.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Thank you. That's fine.
I want to make certain that we pay attention to the fact that there is a domino effect. And we can help all of the obviously needy that we want, but the city council quite unintentionally are creating a series of needy that we'll never recover from. What I mean by that is when we start dictating who can pay their rent and who cannot pay their rent, and we say to the landlords, we know you're going to get slammed by your mortgage companies, and the federal government doesn't have time to go figuring out a program. You're not going to get your, you're going to lose your property. We need to revisit, and I hope you will do that tonight, reconsider the amendment that you passed on April the 14th. And I'm using this forum here because we've always been very supportive of City Council, the Arts District, and the work you do. But the danger that is involved with the extension, where people don't really even have to pay their rent or negotiate their rent for 12 months, is something that is very crucial for you to revisit. And I hope that you will reconsider your motion, vote to reconsider your motion tonight at your evening meeting. And on May the 12th, maybe we can get together with some ideas that will help you find a better solution. Thank you, and
Thank you.
I will hang up my phone now.
Anyway, thank you, but I guess it was not related to this item at hand. But however, thank you very much for your opinion. Okay. Other council members, they want to render an
I'd like to,
Please.
Mayor?
Yes,
Paul, is it
council
fine?
member, yes.
I've gotten, there's been some questions about testing kits and supplies and locations. Do we have an adequate amount and number of all of those, the testing kits, the location, et cetera, that we don't need to include that in any of this funding?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, if I can answer that question. Based on what we know from our area hospitals, the 3 hospitals, along with other facilities that are providing testing to the community, whether it's here or the community at large, our understanding is that there are enough tests that are being provided through our community for the availability. There are certain sites that are not meeting the numbers that they thought that they would meet on a daily basis, and they still have tests available. So our chief contacted all the hospitals and providers and asked if they would like to have access to more testing. And at this time, they said that they are not in need of additional testing. So they are good in terms of what they have and what has been allocated to them.
Oh. Okay, all right, great. So we don't need to allocate funding from this CDBG fund money. About the rental assistance program, I would also like to see more renters covered, more landlords receiving payments. I think $1,000 a month is a little bit high. I was thinking more like if we do $500 to more renters that absolutely are not receiving any kind of additional funding from the federal government or the state. I think that definitely has to be a guarantee that they are really needy and would lose their housing. And I also am appreciative that this is going to the landlords, because in all of this, I think the landlords are really suffering as well, because they aren't getting any rents coming in. So for this to go to the landlords is a good thing. And we also have a lot of renters that are receiving all of this federal funding and not paying their rent, just using it for other items. So I'm happy that this is going to the renters. My question is, which would be faster, the computerized lottery or the first come, first serve? Which is faster?
Technically, the first come, first serve. Every program that we've seen has been oversubscribed within hours. So, if, you wanted to do it in a day, we do think that we could maybe take a couple of weeks to take applications, and then if we are allowed, council has wanted us to use the drum and select numbers. We don't think we have the resources nor the ability to social distance. So we would like to use a computerized lottery. It may take another couple weeks, but that's kind of the timing we were thinking. 2 weeks to allow for applications, then a computerized lottery, people would know later that day.
Okay. All right. So I would then, do the computerized or approve the computerized lottery as well. The small business grants, I'm all in favor of those. I think we have to help the small businesses that are just really suffering. So I think that's good. The restaurants. My one question I have is, you have these portable showers all over, and how do the homeless find out, or how do they become aware that these facilities are available?
Mayor Al-Hajjani and members of the council, basically what we'll do is we'll have our outreach staff go out 7 days a week. We have our police department distributing 30 to 50 meals, brown bag meals to our homeless, unsheltered clients. We'll put a flyer in there letting them know that, a certain day of the week we'll have mobile showers at the Adult Recreation Center, and that's how we'll market the program. Flyers, and we'll give it out to all of our outreach staff at Ascensia, CSP outreach staff, and our police department.
And how many of these are we thinking about having?
It's one mobile shower. It's a trailer, about 20 to 30 people. It's self-contained. About 20 to 30 homeless clients can shower in a matter of 8 hours. We're proposing 1 day a week, either on a Monday or a Wednesday at the Adult Recreation Center. And to answer Councilmember Brahman's question regarding the clothes, the nonprofit will bring clothes to the individuals, and if the homeless individual will like laundry service, Ascensia provides laundry service by appointment only.
Okay. And my final question is concerning the sanitizing stations. Do we have those at our bus stops that are our most used bus stops? Sanitizing, so that is that part of this program?
No, we have hand washing stations. 8 of them deployed. 3 of them are at church locations around the city, and the rest of them are at our park facilities: Palmer Park, Cerritos, Carr, and Pacific Park.
Is there any way that this funding can be used to place sanitizing stations at bus stops that are used most frequently?
Yes, we could use funds for that.
Okay, I think that would be a good idea, because even once we reopen, or once we open, people are still going to have to keep social distancing and keep washing their hands, and I think having them at bus stops would be a really good idea, as well as those eliminating the light buttons, when you're crossing the street crossing, when everybody has to touch the button for the light to change. That might be another way of using this funding. Otherwise, I'm fine with all of the suggestions. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more comments from council members? Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please. Council
Mayor
Member
Agajanian, I'd like to ask some questions.
Please.
So I want to thank staff for giving a little bit more shape to these policy proposals instead of expecting us to hash out everything here. In regard to the rental assistance or the assistance per household, whether it's for mortgages or rent, I do think that the lottery is probably the more equitable way to go, but I want to ask staff if there's any way to see the money distributed in phases, 2 phases perhaps, because inevitably after the first round, we're going to see individuals, and this actually is for both pools of money, both for the business grants and the other, because what I think is going to happen is you're going to have the first phase, as we saw with the PPP assistance program on the federal level. People are going to sign up. I think there may be a rush on it, which will be, I think, is reflective of the dire need out there in the community for help. But then you're going to have people who are going to say, we didn't find out about it on time. We tried to get it and we were too late, or we didn't sign up. So I wanted to see if we, in terms of the lottery, if it could be done in 2 phases. They don't have to be too far apart, but at least to give people an opportunity who may not have heard about it to get into the second pool. That's my first question. And I'll wait to see if there's an answer.
I would, let me answer with a question. We could do that. What I would like council direction on is first pool, are they eligible for the second pool? Or would that just
That's
be...
what I would envision. That's what I would envision. I mean, everyone who's in the pool is in the pool. It's just that, just as, our waiting lists for whether it's Section 8 housing or whatever reopen, this would allow a reopening for more people to enter into it who may not have heard about it in time, or for whatever reason they were not able to address it. Who knows? Maybe they had a loved one who was infected with COVID and they weren't able to. Whatever the case may be.
I think we could do that. What we envision is when you apply, you would be given a number. That would be your lottery number. And then we could just hold it, half in the first pool, half in the second pool, and then let people know if you already applied, you will automatically be entered into that next pool. We'll just have to work that out with our ISD folks.
And I don't know if my colleagues would support that. Obviously, I'm the only one suggesting it, so it would probably require some support from my colleagues in order for it to be of the policy.
So 2 rounds, Mr. Kasakian, is that, I'm sorry, 2 rounds, first round and then a consolation round is that what we're thinking?
But what I have problem with is that's gonna cost lots of money. Whenever we are doing lottery, it costs lots of money, so money will go toward this time that will elapse. I think maybe we don't have to rush to do it. We announce it, we advertise it, we say it, announce to non-profit organization, this is what we are planning. This way, more people will know about it, and we don't go through that twice. That money
How much of a cost? Can we find out what the cost would be, Mr. Mayor? Because if it's not too much of a cost, I do think that there is some value in giving people an opportunity to enter their names into the process.
But just
afterward.
one? Can they apply twice or just once?
They can apply once. I think what Councilmember Kasakian is saying, they apply once, and then you would have one lottery, and then you would have an opportunity for those who may not have heard about the opening of funds, then they can apply as well and be part of that second
But you
lottery.
can't apply twice.
But you cannot apply twice, because
But
the
you
folks
but
who are
you-
in the first lottery would be part of the second lottery if they didn't get
That's what I heard
picked.
from Mr. Kasakian.
Right. Yes, yes. And
So will be 2 lotteries or 1 lottery? I'm trying to, if it's 2 lotteries, that will cost a lot, in my opinion.
Mr. Mayor,
How much would it cost? I'm curious.
How much it cost last time when we did the $300 lottery?
Right. Again, that's why we're asking to do a computerized lottery. What we would envision is that we would have this filled out, a form online. We would have people certify that they meet all the eligibility requirements. Then they would be issued a number. Email goes back, your number is 1. then we would do a computerized lottery so that all of those numbers go into a computer program, we push a button and the lottery comes out, as opposed to having several people in with a drum and trying to do
Right.
that, over several hours. So
No, my concern is after you do that, you interview the people. I mean, the employees of City of Glendale, they have to interview like the $300 we were giving out for 1,000 people. Months passed and we have not finished that yet. So it means that's a costly exercise, in my opinion. That worries me. Otherwise, I would rather see that there are those who didn't hear about it to come forward and participate. But I don't want the money to spend on this practice rather than give it to somebody who needs it.
So depending on the parameters that the council sets forth in terms of whatever that dollar amount is, whether it's 1,000, 800, or 500, depending on which number we go on in terms of the rental assistance program, those dollars wouldn't change. And the same number of households would be eligible and would receive those dollars. So those dollars wouldn't be eaten up in terms of administrative costs. And so the cost would be flat. The only thing would be the timeline would be slightly longer, but it would give the opportunity for others to be part of the process.
Because in here, 572,000, if we pay 1,000, it's 572 people. If we make it 500, as was suggesting, that will be $1,144 people, I mean, 1,144 people. I mean, to go through their document, that's what I'm bothered with. It takes time of employees that they have to sort out through this thing. Yes, please.
that was a 2-year, the subsidy was a 2-year program, and so we were looking for. In this, we would streamline the documentation, looking for any policy decisions that you want, or we could come back and tell you, yes, demonstrate to us you're a resident of the city of Glendale with a driver's license and a utility bill, and some demonstration of the effect of COVID-19. And then they would be approved for payments. Again, they're, depending on the level you do, they're much smaller payments. There is room for somebody to work the system, but I think it's less, and it would be outweighed by us getting those dollars out to people much more quickly.
All right. Are you satisfied with the answer, or Councilmember Kasakian?
I mean, yeah, I made a suggestion, so hopefully I think if everyone is okay with that, and then Mr. Mayor, if you think that we can do this by keeping costs down, I think it will be a worthwhile exercise, because we all know, certainly those of you who've served on the council know that once a program like this is initiated, you're going to have individual stragglers, individuals who will want to benefit and also receive a benefit as well that may not have had it before. I think this is just a way of addressing that issue before it becomes an issue.
Can you also say about the dollar amount? There was suggestion of 500, 800, and 1,000.
Yes, certainly. So I do think $500 is a little low based on what the costs are of living in this city and what people may be undergoing. I think that 500 is too low. 1,000 would not enable us to help as many people as I would like. So to meet halfway, I would like to see $800
or 750.
Maybe $850.
750 will divide better. The 750 will divide the number better than 800.
Fine with me.
It will be residual. Anyway.
If it's 750 is where my colleagues would agree on, then let's keep it at 7. Let's make it 750. I would like to see the assistance be focused on low-income individuals and renters, both seniors and families. And I think we are all in agreement that there should be a computerized lottery. But I would like to see documentation and, the similar exercise that we go through for some of our other programs to make sure that we're making so that we're certain that the aid is going to those individuals who are in need of it, who require our assistance and our help. So besides that, some of the other issues in terms of the small business grant program, I do like what the staff has outlined. I think the amount is fine. And I hope that we can also find funds elsewhere besides this CDBG funding, that we can also see if we see such a great response that we can possibly step in as a city, as an organization, provide more assistance. On the portable showers, which I think are helpful, and I like that idea, it does make me want to know a little bit more about these hand washing stations and the efficacy of these porta potties. So how do we know if they're being used, and how is the frequency of their use being measured? And it's not because I'm against this. I just want to make sure that we're using our dollars wisely, and we're providing help where help is needed, and making the most of what we have.
Mayor Alajanian, Councilmember Kasakian, the porta potties that we've deployed, we deployed them end of March. They're being used on a daily basis. We're using Andy Gump Company to have them come service them. They were servicing them once a week. We've seen an increase in use at all of our locations. They're servicing them now 2 to 3 times a week. And hopefully with the funds that we're allocating, we can have them deployed through the end of September. But they are getting used. The number of people using them, we're not tracking, but we know that they're being used. Even staff out or groundskeepers are out there on a daily basis, and they're seeing both the hand washing stations and the porta potties being used.
So the level of servicing is an indication of how frequently they're being used?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
And we can use that metrics to be able to gauge which ones are being used more than others?
Yes, we had one at a church that wasn't being used, and we moved them to another location where they serve meals during the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. So we're gauging. If we don't see one unit being used, we move them to another location.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And as long as we're keeping track of that, as well as I do like the suggestion that I believe Council Member Devine made about possibly putting stations at some of our our busier bus stops, public transit stops. Now, in terms of meal assistance, there's this state program about which we've already, I think all of us have heard at one point or another, but the Great Plates program, which the state announced, I think, back in end of April. Can you give us some clarification as to how this is being administered? What is our role, and why we as a city are not signing up to be one of the administrators ourselves?
Sure. Mayor Alajanian, members of the council, Councilmember Kasakian. The Great Plates program is a state program that Governor Newsom developed a few weeks ago. In talking with LA County, City of Glendale is part of LA County's Area of Aging Agency, and LA County will like to take the lead on the Great Plates program. They did submit an application to the state yesterday. We will be having a conference call with them sometime this week to review their program recommendations and their guidelines. The state will pay, cities will need to pay 100% of the cost up front, and FEMA may reimburse up to 75%. That's a big may. We've been advised that FEMA may reimburse 75%. The state will reimburse about 8.5%, and 6.5% would be spent or funded through local City of Glendale. That's the information that we have now. We are actively looking at other alternatives to see if Glendale as a individual city should apply. As of now, they're all counties applying. City of LA has applied, but they have their own senior meals program that they've implemented. They're moving $25 million from their building permit revenue fund into the senior meals fund to provide meals for 50,000 seniors per month. So as of now, there are only counties that have applied for the Great Plates program. I hope that answers your question.
So, Mr.
Yeah,
Agnew.
It does,
yes,
and I appreciate that information. I just want to make sure that we're not leaving any resources that can help our community out on the table. I know that we've had thus far a very good relationship with the county in working through this emergency situation. But I just want, again, to reiterate that if we know that there's something that we ourselves could be doing to better serve our residents, stakeholders, that we take the lead on it. And if you find out, if staff finds out that there are cities besides Los Angeles that are trying to do this on their own, then I think it would be worthwhile for us to pursue that as well.
Yes, we will look into it. We're definitely looking into it. By the time if we submit and we submit our guidelines, program implementation, the funds that are available now expire June 10th. I know the state has requested an extension mid-July. But if we were to submit an application by this week, program implementation would take about 3 to 4 weeks. So funds would be not available when we start the program. So when we have a conference call with county and other area of aging agencies, we can get back to council in the form of a memo or a debrief.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember.
Actually, I brought this up last week to staff. I was in a conference with Mayor Garcetti's office with their program, and we were trying to model ours like theirs. It's 2 deliveries of 5 meals per resident that qualifies, and that those meals are cooked. LA has it in such a way where the Unite Here kitchens, large demonstration training kitchens are used, so they're getting employment and not just employment but training also at the same time, and they're using taxi cabs who are also a hard-hit industry to deliver the foods. And I was told, we did get all the FEMA guidelines and forward that on. The problem that they're expressing is that the screening of the eligible recipients is quite burdensome. It was a very popular program, continues to be, but they've got to go through all the hoops, because if you offer meals to someone that turns out to be not qualified, you don't get that reimbursement. So it's a good, it looks like we're all thinking about ways to skin the cat, so they say, to provide services to our residents. And I don't know if, I leave that to staff to decide if we have enough residents to do that. They have about, what did they say? It was a huge amount. Out of their 4 million residents, I think they were subscribing up to 200,000 recipients. So if you extrapolate to our population, it would be about 10,000 or more even, so.
Mayor Alajanian, members of the council, all of our critical seniors that need meals are being fed. We have a wait list, I believe, less than 70, and they're being entered into the Get Care system for next week. We deliver 7 frozen meals each week. Like I mentioned earlier, our meals have expanded from 3,600 meals per month to 6,000 per month. If we were to receive additional funding, we can expand those services, but the critical homebound seniors or the seniors that need that 1,300 calorie meal per day is being fed by our nutritional meals program.
So, and I commend you, Mr. Bulanikian, and your staff for doing a very, very admirable job. And I've seen them myself. I've delivered meals with them in the past, and I know that they do great. But my concern is, as this situation continues, and even if we may open up our businesses and have something return to whatever, some semblance of whatever the new normal will be, there's still going to be a number of people in that segment of the population who are particularly at risk, and that need will grow, potentially. At least that's what I'm anticipating. I think that's what most of us can anticipate. These are individuals who are obviously on fixed incomes, with health that is, and immune systems that are not getting better with age, and it's something that we ought to consider to be able to provide them with assistance if needed. And it's specifically because we do such a good job as a city in this program that I'm concerned about how we continue to do that, and if there is room for us to do it. And thank you, Councilmember Najarian, for your input as well. I think it's important that we at least take a look at this. And if it turns out that we do it through the county, then we do it through the county.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have one question, mundane as it may be, but if we were to, how much would this program cost the city? How much funding would we need for a program like this for, let's say, like Councilmember Najarian says, 10,000 people?
Mayor Najarian, members of the council, Councilmember Devine.
Mayor Agajanian.
What did I say? Mayor Agajanian, members of the council. My apologies. It's been a long day. It costs $66 per day per person. So 75% will be maybe covered by FEMA. 8%, a little over 8%, will be covered by the state, and 6.25% should be covered local, City of Glendale. So we would need all the documentation and the verification.
Excuse me, 75%
Will be covered by FEMA.
6-point-some%, and 8 is not.
8% would be
No, but there
the
is, that
state.
will come to like 90%. Where the
8.7. No, 8.75 will be covered
So-
by
75% is the FEMA share,
18%.
18.75%
Yes,
is the
nice.
state
That's
share.
correct.
And
Okay.
6.25% is the local match.
That's right.
Okay, and if we were to feed, if we were to supply food meals for 10,000, what would that amount come to? Can someone do that math for me?
It would be approximately $600,000 initially for the payment, because we would have to front the funds, $600 and some odd thousand dollars, if we're going by the $66 per day. And then you take ultimately 6.25% of that, if that would be our share ultimately.
About 30. Okay, thank you. I'll do the math. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, and my last point on this, and then I promise I'm done. You know, one of the advantages of having us possibly administer something like this is that we could use our local kitchens here in Glendale, especially ones that have been struggling, that are trying to stay afloat using delivery services, as well as our local transportation providers, to be able to keep as much of the assistance here locally. And that's something I defer to Mr. Bulanikian, who has more experience in this, to tell me whether, you know, if we work through the county, whether our meal providers would be at somewhat of a disadvantage, or would we be able to ensure that the meals provided are coming through some of the restaurants here locally that have been encouraged by the governor and the state to apply for these programs.
Okay, I want to bring this to its conclusion, I guess, and I just want to find the common ground here. So we are doing the lottery. I hope everybody is agreeing to it. And the assistant or grant will be $750 per person. One question that I have is, the age of the person matters, or doesn't matter what the person, how old he
You're
is?
looking for direction of seniors.
Mr. Mayor, I'll put this out to you. Seniors, it was mentioned. Our reasoning was that families are going to need this and will be most affected by COVID in losing their jobs. If you're on a fixed income with government support, typically that's carrying on. Now, that's not across the board, because prices are going to go up, as we've heard earlier, on different things. So it really is a policy decision on your part. What I thought I heard was both seniors and families could apply.
Okay. Seniors and families will apply. So is this good enough for going and voting on this item?
Small business grants.
And
I have a
before-
motion. I'm sorry.
Well, I think, yeah,
Mr. Garcia.
staff also needs direction on the small business grants, but I would note there was some discussion about whether it would be 2 months or 3 months on the rental assistance program, and then also whether it would be self-certification before the lottery or providing the documentation before the lottery or after the lottery. I mean, the documentation is going to be required regardless. The question was whether you require it before they go into the lottery or require just self-certification before the lottery and do the verification after. I think that's something else we need direction on.
Anybody wants to say before or after?
I suggested after.
Mr. Mayor?
One second.
Mr. Mayor?
One second, Councilmember Devine.
That's Laura.
Mr.
I
Brotman.
think that was Laura. I think that was Laura.
That was Mrs.
That
Perez.
was me, Laura.
Laura.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I did like the idea of $750 because everybody, I mean, the renters are just affected by COVID-19 one way or another. So $750 is, I believe, I'm thinking it's good. And that would be very big help for the renters. And thank you for the staff for the detailed report. And that's all. Thank you.
I appreciate. I'm sorry I didn't give you the chance to speak. Anyway, so this is.
Okay, so if I may, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please, Councilmember Devine.
I think if staff agrees that if you do the verification afterwards, then you will have to do less, right? Because if you do it before, you're going to have thousands.
That's correct.
So I would suggest we do the verification afterwards, the documentation afterwards.
I'm trying to find consensus. Is that okay with that?
Yeah, that's what I suggested.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Okay, we'll do that. So anything else we have to give direction?
2 months or 3 months?
If you are paying $750, so obviously we will be able to do 3 months. Before you were, no? Before you were saying 2 months for 1,000? Or 3 months for 1,000?
We had suggested $1,000 for 3 consecutive months.
So that's
Change the
3,000.
number, you change that to $750. There was also a suggestion to do less time and stretch that out, be able to
Okay,
stretch that
2
further.
months, more people,
That's the idea.
right?
2 months.
2 months, more people. With $750.
Council okay with that?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask for a vote now.
Well, how about the,
Motion.
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Mr. Brotman.
The business assistance program, we didn't come to a conclusion on that. I had raised this point about rather than give out grants, we invest in helping businesses as they reopen. I haven't heard anybody else weigh in on that, if anybody
We
thinks
have-
that that's a good approach.
One of the reasons I didn't say anything, because we are getting too much involved with everything. We need the employees, big group of people. I mean, we have to be careful also. Too much money will be involved. I mean, too much time of
Administration.
employees. And maybe we will spend that much as we want to help the others. Because this is like 572,000. If we go through all detail of it, I'm afraid we get lost in the process. I don't know.
It's like
Unless somebody has an.
It's like the argument, if you give somebody a fish or you teach them how to fish. I'd rather do things that are going to help people stand up on their own and be able to generate revenue from the public. I think that's, that's a better, but maybe staff can comment on, like, is that feasible and what that would take?
As I was just talking to Ms. Bluniki, I'm not sure it's eligible for the grant.
Mayor Alajanian, members of the council, we can give the grant to the business, and let the business know that the funds need to be paid for preventative measures for COVID-19, such as glass, UV, ultraviolet temperature checks. But staff purchasing and installing in the business won't work for a CDBG. It's not allowed.
Okay.
Is
I
that
mean,
something-
I like the intention. I like the intent, Councilmember Brotman, but I think that most businesses are going to spend the money wherever they believe it's going to benefit them.
I agree.
I do not want to get into, as the mayor said, into telling them how to spend it. I think it's a good suggestion. Certainly, hopefully, some of them will, but let's leave it up to the businesses. And then any businesses that are not compliant, we're obviously going to have to discuss with this body about enforcement.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I think,
Councilmember Devine,
yes,
I totally
Councilmember
agree.
Devine.
I totally agree.
Okay.
Let the restaurant operators use the money for what they think, and if they want to reopen, they're going to have to do this, and they'll have to use this money to that goal. So I agree with Mr. Kasakian.
Thank you.
Good points.
May I-
One
yes.
final clarification. There was a suggestion that we make this available to all low income and not have to demonstrate in effect by COVID-19. Is that your pleasure as well? Because then if we did that, we would not have to verify any COVID-19 impact. But that's a policy decision for the council.
I think that's fine.
All
without-
low income.
Yeah, low income. Okay.
Is there
May I have a motion?
Is there
I mean,
consensus?
the problem with that.
Consensus then.
Yeah, the problem with that is you could have someone whose income has been absolutely not affected at all if they're getting pensions or government relief or whatever. But, I mean, I think, I don't want to hold up this discussion. You guys, I'm fine with any other suggestion of that.
Yeah, we are getting too much through detail of everything. Will take lots of time for the staff to sort
Yeah.
out all these things. Will cost us more
Yeah, it's
than
too
what
much
we want to
administrative
pay to help them.
burden, but I don't care.
Okay,
I'm okay with it.
thank you. So may I have a motion for item 1A, I
need one
guess,
for
or we
council
have
for
to
housing.
wait until you,
Well, we do need a motion based on the consensus that
Yes.
on the points that we discussed. So we just motion approving the direction to staff based on the direction you gave this afternoon. So we just need a motion on that.
I'll move.
So moved.
Second?
okay? A roll call, please.
Anyone for-
Yeah.
Councilmember Brotman,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Agajanian,
Yes. How
And then-
about,
and then the authority.
We need one for the housing
One.
authority too. We need the same.
I'll move
same
it for
motion
the housing authority?
okay.
Is there a motion
second.
for adjournment from housing?
No, Madam
need a
Chair, we
second.
I will
need a
second.
motion on
You-
the same
one
item
second.
for
I
the housing
second
authority.
for the housing.
Okay.
What are we doing? Oh,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Authority member,
Hard to hear.
Authority member Agajanian,
yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian,
Yes.
and Chair Devine.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I go to, I guess, item 1B.
No, we got to adjourn this.
Adjourn.
This
Move
is
to
adjourned.
adjourn for council?
All right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So
Move
we
to
are
adjourn
adjourned
for
for
authority?
the city council.
Yeah, because
Is there a second for housing authority?
Second.
I second.
We're adjourned.
we're adjourned.
So we are adjourned?
We have to take roll call for next.
Okay.
We're not going to do this today. It's just too
All right.
much. But we have to read it into the record, so both are going to be moved, so let him read it into the record.
Roll call
One more.
No, just roll call
Roll call on
special meeting. Yep.
Special.
Okay. Roll call on special meeting of Glendale City Council.
Councilmember Brotman,
Here.
Devine,
We're not doing
Here.
Kasakian,
Still here.
Najarian,
Here.
Mayor Agajanian.
Present. Due to evolving situation with the COVID-19 novel coronavirus and health recommendations from the LA County Health Department, the Glendale City Council special meeting will be available to the public electronically. Due to social distancing requirements, the public will not be able to attend the meeting. The public is encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of their homes to practice social distancing. The meeting can be viewed on local cable, Charter Cable Channel 6 and Spectrum Channel 6, and AT&T Uverse Channel 99. Streaming online will be www.glendalecalifornia.gov. For public comments and questions during the meeting, call to the number on the screen, 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting these questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person during the Glendale City Council special meeting. Thank you. What's next?
Next would be the agenda for the Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 special public meeting of the City Council was posted on Tuesday, April 28th, 2020 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
So the first item?
First item would be community development regarding 340 North Central Avenue, Stage 1 and 2 design review for proposed three-story commercial office building, case number PDR 1920855. Item will be continued on May 12th, 2020. One would be motion approving Stage 1 design and 2 community development regarding Art Entertainment District, Retail Unit 1, direction on strategy for city-owned commercial space location at 117 to 131 Artsakh Avenue. And 2 would be authorization to proceed with short-term pop-up retail program.
The City Manager, Yasmin Bills.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, we would request to not have this item this afternoon. It's been a long morning and afternoon to give us all a little break before this evening's proceedings. We will bring this forward. I spoke to Community Development Director Philip Lanzafame. It's not a time-sensitive matter, so we can come and have that discussion with you in the next few weeks.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, on item number 1, I do need a motion to continue that item to next week, May 12th, without further public notice.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So roll call, please.
Councilmember Brotman,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Agajanian.
Yes. So are we going to adjourn now? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So we are adjourned at 4